And that's definitely connected to that.
Yeah, yeah. It's all talking to each other. I just don't know why. I can get that on there, and that's coming up on there.
Apparently, people can hear us talking. Hello, for those of you who can hear us. It should be. Ooh.
So it should be able to. I should have a picture on there. I didn't realise it wasn't. Do you want to describe what the
Yeah, I was going to say we could do. If you can hear me, we could do a really, really good podcast, an audio live stream.
So that's playing on there. Everything's on there, isn't it? I wonder if you've got more buttons pressed than normal.
Is the stream key connected to the?
Yeah, that's done, but that's not anything to do with this. And don't forget, you're still, people can still hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, stream.
Hello, you should be able to hear me again now. We think we fixed it.
Yeah.
We have?
Yeah.
Okay, apparently we fixed it. I can't see me though.
No, you can't. I'll fix that in a minute.
Okay, hello everybody. Hopefully you can see me now. Let me know if you can. I won't be able to tell because I can't see the comments, but Terry will hopefully relay the information. As well as a slight technical difficulty with the camera, we were just walking past and somebody accidentally stood on the plug, which pulled it out the wall, which cut everything off very quickly. But we're back now, so hopefully no more technical difficulties. Computer glitch, I'm being told. A technical difficulty that it mustn't like the heat. It is very hot in here. So hopefully you're all still with us and you haven't got fed up. So
yeah, thanks for your patience, everyone. Don't know what happened there, but we're getting better at this. Give it another 5 years, we might know what we're doing.
So yeah, we're going to do, or rather I'm going to do a ring holder for my fiance Jen, who I've recently got engaged to, which is very exciting news for me. And everybody else as well, I hope, especially Jen, maybe. But, you know, we'll hopefully a little bit later on, once I've finished, she might be persuaded to come on camera and say hello to everybody. So until then, I've got to make this little ring holder. So here's one it's not quite finished, but this is one that I made this morning. This is made out of a lignum vitae bowling ball. A bowling ball, it was a ball for playing bowls with. Bowl, is that how you, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bowls, yeah. So it's a bowls, this was a this was a bowl and now it's a ring bowl. Spelled differently, I think. Anyway, oh no, I thought the camera went off again. So just testing, yeah. You're tricking me. So this is a little bit more of a traditional design. It's a little bit I don't want to say old-fashioned, but it's you know, slightly more traditional. Lovely dark wood as well, of course, the lignum, and this hasn't got a finish on it yet as well. So it's you know, it's going to be finished later on. I'm going to turn and finish the other one, and then I'm going to finish this as well. So we'll pop that to one side for now. I'd normally be wearing my smock for wood turning, of course, but due to the heat in here, as I'm sure you're all suffering with at home, it's a little bit hot for that. So is the lathe plugged in? Let's hope so. It is. That's good news. Yeah, it's on the list of things. Okay, yeah. So like I mentioned, that one's made out of a piece of lignum vitae. I'm going to make the actual one out of this lovely piece of boxwood, which I've got here. It's got a couple of splits in it.
Surely Jen gets to decide which one she has.
Well, she did, yeah. Before I turned that one, she said, which one do you want? Do you want the crusty old bowl for bowls, or do you want the nice little piece of boxwood? And she said, oh, I'll have the boxwood, please. But she can decide once I finish. She can have another look at them. Although I think she's probably going to prefer this one, to be honest. But we'll see. Now I did do a mood board for this project, or a piece of paper with some inspiration, but I found a photo of one that I like, so we've just got a photo of that one. So it's a very very basic mood board, so we're going to go with something like that. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to make it live edge as well, because we've got quite a nice small piece. It's going to be live edge, so we're going to keep that edge on there. And also, we're not going to make it a bowl like this one. This one is not just a ring holder. This will hold your jewelry as well, because it's got that scoop out in there. You can put like your necklaces and various bits and bobs in there. But this one's just going to be a ring holder, and it's not going to have that little bowl in there. So in terms of mounting this, I'm going to start with it between centers. I'm going to turn a tenon on there, and then that's going to allow us to hold it to turn the rest of the piece. This is quite off-center, so not quite off-center, sorry, rather the center of the tree is quite off-center from the middle of the blank. So if we can cut to camera 2. Sorry, I've caught you while you're typing there.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. So you can see there, the center of the blank, hopefully you can see, the center of the blank is round about here. well, the center of the tree is around about there, but obviously the center of the blank is a bit lower down. So we're not going to worry about where the center of the tree is. We're going to orientate this so the bark is in the middle of the piece. So we're just going to sort of eyeball it for now. Slide that up there to the headstock. Now, I've got ring centers in here. Those of you who've watched the live stream before know that I like the ring centers for previously explained reasons. Main one being, of course, that they don't leave a big point in the end of the wood. So, and as I'm mounting this, I'm not really worried too much about how it's angled. What I'm looking for is to try and get it in a position where the part of the ring holder that's going to be this widest diameter out here is sort of in the middle and central. So even if these outside edges here are wobbling up and down, it doesn't matter as long as sort of this middle area here is in the right place. So that's about right on there. Let's try that there. So spin it around by hand. I can see this side's a little bit higher. Of course, that's not helped by the slightly irregular shape of this piece. There we go. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of an imprint in there. And I am going to flip this round. And the reason I'm going to flip it around is because this side's got some splits in it. I don't know if you can see those, but I'm going to make that side with the splits in it the ring holder side of the piece. And that means I want to pop a little tenon on the other side. And by having that tenon on the tailstock side, it's going to mean it's a little bit easier to access. So I'll flip that round. Just make sure I'm still happy with the alignment, which looks good. And I'll tighten that up there. So safety goggles on. I am going to start with a roughing gouge, but I'm going to be aware of this section of live edge here that I want to keep. So I'm only going to go up to about there. I'm going to turn from there to there, sort of down to round, and then we're going to look at making a tenon on here. So I'll start with the speed quite low, and I'll turn it up a little bit. So about 1,000 RPM here. Now, I'm being wary of the bark that's on here. Normally you want to remove bark if you can before you start the turning, but because we want to try and keep some of that, we're going to leave it on for now. But I'm going to be stood to the side, so if any of this bark does come off, I'm going to be a little bit safer. Of course, I have got my goggles on as well, so if, I'm not going to get anything in my eyes. So just taking a few light passes. Boxwood, of course, is very dense, so it's going to cut really, really nicely. Now, I can't take too much material off at once here. And that's because we've got a ring center drive in here as well. And what that means is that if I do get a catch or anything happens, it's not going to send the tool, it's going to slip around the headstock. So I can rotate the spindle and the wood not move because this isn't a prong drive in here. So we do want to make sure we have a decent amount of clamping pressure with the tailstock to be able to make sure that this doesn't slip in here. So I probably took a little bit too much off there. There's a little bit of vibration, but a lighter pass is going to put less pressure on the wood and it should give me a better finish. I've not turned boxwood for quite a while and I forgot how lovely it was to turn. Just take a little bit more of the mass off there. For reference, this piece is probably about 8 centimeters in diameter, the raw material that we started with. Just if you want to have a go at one of these yourself. Probably go to the parting tool now, just to start on this end. I'm just going to start putting a flat spot on there for a tenon. And the reason I'm using a parting tool here is that's going to help me get a crisper edge on that face there where we're transitioning to the bark. There we go. I'm going to switch over to my skew chisel. Maybe I won't actually. I'll probably go to the bowl gouge. And I'll use the bowl gouge to get a flat face on here. And that's going to allow me to get the skew chisel in and not have to worry about this bottom shoulder here resting on the chuck when I go to remount this. So make sure that's locked in place. I'll just take a very light facing cut off the end here. Probably a little bit too much. That's enough to get it mostly flat there, and I'll do another pass. Turn the speed up slightly. So about 1500 RPM now. I'll take a very light pass off that face just to clean it up and get a really nice finish on there. So you could hear there where I took a little bit too much off and there was some vibration that started coming in. So if that happens, just ease off the cut slightly and it should stop that. So switching to the skew chisel. Just going to use it as a scraper, and we're going to put a tenon on here, which we can use for mounting this piece in our chuck. Now, because of the grind I've got on my skew chisel here, it's quite it's a radius grind, so that means this point where I'm making the cut to create the tenon is pretty much 90 degrees. It's not going to give me that dovetail that I need in there for the chuck. So by rotating the tool over slightly, so a little bit that way, it's going to mean I can get into that corner. And you normally wouldn't really want to do that because if you were to get a catch or anything, the tool isn't going to be resting flat along the tool rest. But as long as it's only a light cut you're taking, you shouldn't run into any problems. So take a little bit more off here, and then I'll use a bowl gouge for that, and then we can start looking at flipping this piece around. So when I'm doing this cut, while we're on the bark, I'm starting with a closed flute, and that's hopefully going to prevent the bark from getting torn off there. Okay, and I'll probably leave that there because that's where our live edge is going to be on that bit there. So I'm going to remove a little bit more from the top and leave that base. Now, because this is not a perfect circle, it's more of an oval shape with this live edge, it's going to be quite important to get this bottom facing cut almost exactly 90 degrees if we can. And that's because if we do what we would normally do with a bowl and put a very, very slight concave surface on there, although it's not going to wobble necessarily in the same way that a flat surface would, because a flat surface over time, if the wood moves, it could create a high spot in the middle. By making this perfectly flat, it's going to mean when you look at it, it's sat on the surface that it's resting on, basically. If you put a concave surface on there, because this is an oval, it's going to almost look like a Pringle where 2 points are touching and the one in the middle isn't. So it's important to get that as flat as we can. You could almost, if you wanted to, if you were worried about any rocking issues, you could put a piece of felt or something on there if you wanted as well. But we're not going to worry about that for today. You could always do it after the fact as well if it became a problem. So I'll just take a quick cut off there with the parting tool, and that's just going to start that 90-degree, perfectly straight face I've got on there. And then we're going to flip this round and start working on the other side. There we go. So I'll take my center out and I'll pop my chuck on. Now, this chuck's got a set of O'Donnell jaws on it. I normally don't use them, to be honest. They are handy for certain things, but you can get away with normal standard jaws. This piece, the reason I'm using the O'Donnell jaws for this specifically is because I reckon this tenon was going to be in between sizes of my normal standard jaws. So by putting the O'Donnell jaws on there, we don't have to worry about that. So back these off a little bit. And we'll slowly start tightening that in. Now, I've probably made this tenon a very, very small amount deeper than I should have done, because the reference face is sitting on the chuck isn't this shoulder in here, it's the base, which would normally be a problem if you hadn't trued up the base, but we'll be able to get away with it for this one. And especially because this isn't a huge piece, we don't have to worry too much about the slight loss of strength from not having a perfect tenon on there. But there we go. And usually when you remount something like this, it's going to be very, very slightly off, and that could be because it doesn't sit quite perfectly in the chuck. It could be because there's a bit of dust in there. It could just be because the chuck doesn't sit perfectly straight on the headstock. So you're generally going to have to do a very, very small amount of truing up to just get this perfectly back in line. And that's generally why it's not advised to remove pieces from the chuck if you're halfway through turning them. You can take the chuck off the lathe because you know that's going to go back in the same way. But, even if you're tempted, if you're halfway through a project and you think, oh, I want to do something else, I need that chuck, it's best not to take it out of the chuck, because when it goes back in, it's going to go in slightly differently. Even if you mark which jaw goes where, it's still a little bit risky. So I'll take this out of the way. I'm going to use a roughing gouge again just to true this surface up here, and I can start taking a bit more of that material off as well. So I'm not trying to take too much material off here in one go, same as before. Especially because we've not got any tailstock support anymore, it's going to add a little bit more vibration. And we could put the tailstock back up if we wanted to, but because this isn't a huge piece, I don't think we'll bother. So making sure we've got bevel contact is going to give us the best finish. Just working our way down there with the bulk of that material. There we go. So we're getting a little bit closer. Still got quite a lot of material to remove on here, but I'm going to switch to the bowl gouge, and that's going to allow me to start putting some more of that detail in here. I can't create too straight of a face with the roughing gouge. I can, but it's going to be a little bit trickier than with the bowl gouge, and that's mainly because the angle of the handle. It's going to be a lot more comfortable for me to do it when the angle of the handle is over here, rather than when I'm trying to deal with it and it's sort of got to be a lot higher because the tool's bigger. So it's just going to make it a bit easier for me. Also, this bowl gouge is nice and sharp, so that's going to make it a little bit easier as well. So if I look at my reference here, this is the biggest I could get the photo, but it is a little bit small. then, which way is best for you? That way, that's the way up it's going to be. So we've got a very, very slight curved surface on this point here, which I'm doing at the moment. And then we've got sort of a little lip there, and then we sort of go into a nice curl towards the top. So I know I want to take this down quite a lot. I can take this cut that I've started here in quite a bit further. You can't see it, but Jen sat behind the camera. She's giving me a funny look. So hopefully she likes this design. So I can take off a bit of that material with the bowl gouge, and then I'll just start taking that cut a little bit further in as well. And I will switch to the roughing gouge just to help clear off some of that material on there. Of course, being careful we don't take it down too much, because we are going to have a flick back out of the top here. So getting closer. We are getting some really lovely shavings off there as well. Oh. Yeah, that was my fault. I wasn't paying attention enough there. So as I came back out, the corner of my tool just caught on the edge here, because it's a live edge, and I just got that edge break off. But that's why we wear safety goggles. So just watch out for that at home. You want to pay a bit more attention than I was just then. But that's okay. We can still make this work. So I'm gonna go back in and trim up that surface. So I'll start with the closed flute. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's obviously we're missing this bit here, which is probably on the floor somewhere, but that's all right. So I'll take another pass with the bowl gouge and start to work towards that final size. I'm looking to get those shapes in there as well. Now, if you're doing this at home, I would recommend doing it not on quite so hot a day, because it does make you a little bit more, don't want to say complacent, but it makes you, makes it more difficult, I think, definitely. So we've got that detail there in the bottom. And we'll just thin out this stem a little bit more. And I'll switch to the roughing gouge just to remove that bit in the middle. There we go. Got a question?
Yeah, I should know the answer to this, really. That is boxwood, isn't it?
It is boxwood,
It is
yeah.
boxwood, yeah. Good spot, everyone. Well done. Thank you for paying more attention than I was.
So start working on the end there, and we're going to aim for a little bit of a curve, and I want to remove that point from the live centre there as well. Trying to get a nice curve on there if we can. Of course, when you're doing this bit specifically, you want to be wary that you actually make it small enough for a wing to go over. And it's quite important if we can to get this curve in the middle here, sort of really nice, smooth arc. We don't want to have a ridge in there at all, or even a flat spot if we can help it. There will be a little bit of leeway with what we can do, as to what we can do with sanding, but you want to get as much of it in with the tool as you can. So I'll take this down a little bit more just so we can get a slightly longer neck on there. There we go. Let's have a look at our reference again. So, not a million miles off. We want to go a little bit smaller with this detail here, and we can make it a very slight bit deeper as well. There we go. Perfect. And I'll probably make the top tiny bit smaller on here. So start with a closed flute, stop it skipping. There we go, it's a little bit more elegant now. Just smoothing off any of those little bumps that we can. Doing a push cut here, but being very careful not to go and cut uphill. So doing a little cut off the face here, just to make sure we've got a nice smooth surface. And we've got a nice radius on there as well now, it's not got any ridges or anything in there. I'll do a little cut going back down just to get that detail in there. And I can probably switch to the skew chisel here as well, and that's going to help me get that that nice undercut that I'm after. And it'll help keep those lines nice and sharp as well. Okay, we're getting there now. So I think I'm probably, yeah, I'll take a little bit more off there actually, and then we'll start looking at sanding. So take that away. There we go. There was just a very small amount of that live edge that had that was still sticking out there, but that should have been cleaned up now. Okay, perfect. Not quite perfect, but it's not far off. So we'll go for the sandpaper. I'll take the tool rest out as well, just to keep it out of the way. And you do want to be careful when you're sanding something like this. Obviously, I caught that edge with the tool, which you don't want to happen if you can help it, but you don't want to catch your fingers because that'll be even worse. So just be really wary as you're sanding this outside edge. You don't put too much pressure. Especially, this isn't as bad, but if you're doing something like a winged bowl, you've got sort of four corners there. You just got to be really careful. So I won't go as low as 80. I will on this bit actually, just to get that final shape in there. And we can probably go straight to 120 with the finish we've got on here. Probably even higher, but it'll just make our lives easier if we start slightly lower. We're not going to have to worry about any imperfections staying in the wood. And it really does help to have a nice hard wood like this, because if you use a softer wood, you're going to have to sand more to get any tear out away, and that's going to risk softening up these edges. You want nice crisp edges on the detail here if you can. So 120, then we'll do 180. And 240. Now, if I was doing a normal demo, I probably wouldn't worry about sanding this too fine, and that's mainly due to speed. But for something like the boxwood, it's not quite as forgiving as something softer like sycamore, and you're really going to see any minor imperfections in the sanding. So it's important you take your time. So we're on the 320 now. And then 400. And we'll finish it off with the 500 as well. Okay.
I don't know if you can see that on the screen. Will the ring holder?
Yeah.
That's my con. Will the ring holder be strong enough to support the weight of the enormous gemstone?
Let's hope so. Jen's got a big smile. Obviously hers wasn't quite big enough, but no, I'm only joking. Yeah, we what was I going to say there? Yeah, I mean, this should be pretty much strong enough to support anything. We've got a new, you wouldn't be able to tell from where you are, but we've got a new monitor set up behind the camera, so I can see what's going on. And Terry's been enjoying flashing up the questions on the screen, so that has been quite funny. I'm enjoying melting over here, so it's it's good fun. So I will start to finish this in a moment, but I'm going to continue with the cut on the back here. Now it is better for it to be a slight undercut rather than having a convex surface on the bottom, but we do want to keep it as flat as possible. So just removing the bulk of the material, and I'll finish cutting that off in a little bit. There we go. Okay. So we've got a couple different options for finishing here. We are going to look at finishing this one afterwards. We've got a question?
Yeah, just a quickie. Nigel Oram. Hi, Nigel. Good to see you out there. Nigel says congratulations on your engagement.
Oh, as well. Thank you, Nigel.
Nigel says he's never come across a 500 grit sandpaper.
No? Oh, wow. I can tell you where to get one. From us, obviously.
And Ian said, before parting off, shouldn't Jen check the ring fits over it?
That would be good. I'm pretty sure I know how big Jen's finger is, so we'll say no. Oh, which Jen's nodding at me. She's been kicking back on the sofa that we've got behind the camera, but she's putting her shoes back on in preparation to come over. But we'll see. Oh, she's giving me an angry face. She'll kill me after this. Okay, yeah. So we've got a couple of different couple of different options for finishing. This one that we've got over here, this has got some cracks in it. For those of you who have ever seen the Lignum Vitae bowls, they're normally full of cracks. I mean, you know, a lot of them are very, very old, but also they're just made out of solid wood. So not as much cracks as you would do with a, you know, a native species, but there's still some cracks in there. And we're going to look at how to address those a little bit later on. But for now, we're just going to use the acrylic sanding sealer, and then we're going to go over it with our new products, which is exciting, which I'll talk about a little bit more momentarily. So just a light pass over the whole surface. Now, you can get the bark with this as well. Boxwood bark is quite, is hardy the right word? It's quite sturdy, so shouldn't go anywhere unless you catch it with a tool, which you don't want to do. So leave that on there for now. And we'll give that a second to dry, and I'll pinch a bit of Niva from Terry's demo box because I forgot mine. We'll give that a second, and then we'll look at finishing that off. In the meantime, we can look at this one. Now, I'm going to tack cloth this one. Probably should have tack cloth that one, but it's not quite as bad, or at least in my experience, if you've just been turning it, it's not quite as bad because a lot of the dust has been ejected, but it probably would, it is best practice normally to use a tack cloth on it as well. But this one's been sat out for, you know, a few hours, and it's been sat on the side there, so this one's got all dusty, so it is important we tack cloth this one to make sure we get the best finish we can. So we'll go all the way around with that one. By storing the tack cloth in a jar, of course, it stops the air getting to it. It stays tackier for a lot longer, so you can use it multiple times. So pop this down on here. I'll just give this a quick spray. I'll do the bottom first, and then I'll flip over to do the top. And you don't need tons of this, just one thin coat should be absolutely fine. There we go. Got a lovely colour coming out in there if you can see it. Looks a little bit darker on camera, but oh no, it looks really lovely actually. I've got another one of these, so if anyone's got any suggestions of what you want me, what I should make with the other bowl, then let me know. Or the other bowl, whatever it's called. Can you tell I don't play? So that's dry on there now. And we've already got a shine coming up on here just from the sanding sealer, but we are going to get that a lot better. So I use the Niweb, and I'm, especially with this, I'm being careful not to grip it in a way that if anything catches, it's going to pull my hand in. You know, you don't want to start wrapping it around your fingers or anything. So it's light pressure, being aware as well, of course, that you don't want to get it caught in the live edge on the piece there. And that's just going to denib the sanding sealer very slightly. Probably should have moved that before I did this. Moved this before I did that, rather, because that's going to have dust on it, but that's okay. So we're going to use the new high gloss wax on this one. I don't suppose anyone's got a can opener handy, have they? I normally have a can opener, but I don't this time. But
the can opener is on the way.
Terry's popping on his keys. Thanks, Will. I'm putting those there, but remember that they're there because otherwise you won't be able to get home later. So this is the high gloss wax. This is a new product. It's quite a firm paste wax, but it's got a very high carnauba content compared to some of the other waxes. So and carnauba has a very high refractive index, so it's going to give us a really good finish on here. A little bit goes a long way, so we don't need to put too much on here. And just going to make sure it's all spread evenly before turning the lathe on. Now, I've probably put too much on there. I don't know if you saw how much I put on, but it was a very, very little amount.
I I dare say it's pretty soft today as well because of the warmth. It
Yeah.
does make. This is not a great day to do a finishing demo because hot weather accelerates the drying time. It makes waxes softer, accelerates the drying time of everything else. Can really make things awkward and difficult.
It's also more difficult, of course, because I'm nearly turning into a puddle on the floor, but that is a human restriction to the finishes, unfortunately.
We have a mop ready, don't worry.
So we put the wax on there, and I'm going to start the lathe off. I'm going to go at a slow speed to begin with. So we're about 500 RPM there, and just while the wax is still soft, before the solvent's evaporated, I'm just going to work it in. Now, the idea is that, you know, the wax has still got the solvent in there. The solvent takes a few minutes to evaporate, and what you're trying to do is put a smooth, even surface across the wood, and then you sort of stop, let the solvent from the wax evaporate, and then we can go back over once there's no solvent left, and the wax is going to be really hard. We can polish that up to a very high gloss finish. Now, you would want to leave it for probably about 10 or 15 minutes, I found, until the solvent's evaporated enough to get a really high gloss from the piece. But just a couple of minutes, especially in this heat, which isn't going to do it any harm, at least with the evaporation time, we can go back and buff the piece up. Now, I'm going to use the same cloth for this, and that's because the smooth wax on the cloth, which is dried, and the smooth wax on the piece are going to polish up against each other and give you a really nice high gloss finish. So turn the lathe on. We can turn the speed up now. And the key with this is very, very light pressure. You don't want to remelt that wax, and hopefully you can see there, that's coming up really, really nice. There we go. Hopefully that looks as nice on camera as it does in person. But let's part this piece off. We'll have a look at finishing the other piece, and then we can try it for size and see if it fits.
Yeah, we will definitely have tins of it at the weekend, Nigel. So yeah, pick one up there, mate.
So speed's back down to about 1200. And I'm just going to go and part this off. I'm not going to worry about doing anything with the underside. Now, ideally you would want to cut this off with a saw, just because of the grain orientation. Because if you break this off, then it risks tearing the fibres. But we can try doing it without a saw. See if I can catch it. There we go. We've got a small sort of bit on the bottom there from where we just cut it off, so I'm going to switch over to the skew chisel and being very careful, making sure that my arms are close to my body, so I've got a lot of control and that my fingers aren't in the firing line, which is very important. Then we can remove that little nub from the base there.
You take half pace forward.
I'm as close as I can.
That's fine. All right.
Oh, you mean down here?
That's fine.
Oh, you're up there. Okay, that's fine. Thought you were going to go onto the other camera. There we go. So that should sit nice and flat now. Can you see it if I pop it on there? Or should I pop it down here? I can see it up there. There we go. So we'll have a look at this one. And then and then we'll try them for size. Now, of course, we need to remove this from the from the lathe.
Then it'll be the moment of truth to make sure that the ring fits on the ring holder, and for Jen to choose which one she wants.
So, got that on there. I'm just going to denib it slightly. Now, because I took this out of the chuck, I don't know if you can pick that up on camera, but it's wobbling up and down very slightly. And that is because, you know, as always, when you put it back in a chuck, even if everything goes in exactly the same, it's there's always going to be a very small amount of a discrepancy, especially if you've got a longer piece, and that's going to be more prolific. You're going to be able to see it. Well, prolific, I think you're going to be able to see it a lot more easily. But there we go. You may be wondering why this has a hole in the end as well. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but that's just a manufacturing, how they're manufactured, basically. I should have got the other one that I've got to show you as a side-by-side, but I don't know if I'll be able to explain well enough where to find it. Yeah, it's on one of the shelves down the middle at the back, on one of the wooden ones. Okay, yeah, so we've got the we've got that denibbed, so don't need that now. Didn't put the lid back on enough, which is perfect. Now, as I mentioned at the start, we have got some slight voids in here, just from the splitting that was naturally in the wood, and we want to be aware of that when using a wax finish. Those of you who've used a wax finish on something like a burr will know that it doesn't really work because of all the voids in the burr, the wax gets stuck in them and it sort of goes white. It doesn't look good. Oh, we've got the it's being rolled across the being rolled across the floor. So this is what this came out of. Obviously it looks a little bit worse for wear here, but looks a bit nicer on there. And I don't say how old these are, but if they're as old as I think they might be, then these will be original ivory, original real ivory ends, which obviously is not allowed, nor should it be, of course. So yeah, we want to avoid the splits of the wax there, and we can do that by putting a very, very small amount of wax on the cloth and going bit by bit. If we end up with sort of if we have something like that on there, a big blob, when we go over, it's going to force all that wax into the gaps. So by going with a very, very small amount of wax on there and just light pressure, it should go over all of the splits without filling them up with the wax. And you may still get a little bit in there, but it's going to be nowhere near as bad as it would be otherwise. So just working my way around the piece. And those of you who've ever used like a liming wax or an embellishing wax like the rainbow wax is, you want to be, you're basically trying to do the opposite as you would be with those, where you're trying to force the rainbow waxes into the grain. You don't want this stuff to get in the grain here. Not that there is a grain, you don't want to get it into the splits rather. So just sort of skimming over the top, not forcing it into the gaps at all. There we go. And same again, I'll start with a low speed. Can you do what, sorry?
Remove that ball off of there.
It's all right, it's got a flat spot on the bottom. Okay, I'm being the flat spot isn't trusted. So, yeah, start with a slow speed, and we're just going to work the wax over the piece. Like so, and then also, we'll sort of give this a couple of minutes to dry, and then we'll buff it up. But while that's drying on there, I'm more than happy to do a bit of promotion about the Weekender, if that's allowed, which I'm sure it will be. Yeah. You may have spotted a recognisable face on there. It's like the like in the films where you've got the guy and then he poses next to a photo and it's just exactly the same. I like to think this is along those lines, but
We can turn the lights out.
yeah. Yeah, I say we. Terry had a bit of fun with this poster, obviously. But yeah, this is I'm one of the 4 headline demonstrators for the Weekender. If you didn't already know, I'm sure you've all seen this knocking about somewhere, and if you haven't, then you know what are you doing? Well, no, I'm joking. You've seen it here anyway. But yeah, we're going up to Doncaster this year. Definitely not one to be missed. It's our biggest venue yet. It's going to be a great time. I think we're all pretty certain it's going to be a great time. But it's on the 29th and 30th of August. This year, you know, don't turn up there next year. It's going to be really good. But yeah, is there anything else I need to say about, or not? I should say about it.
Who's demonstrating?
Oh yes, you've got me.
In case you hadn't noticed, Nathanael's going to be there. They may have mentioned this once or twice.
Yeah. So I'm going to be a demonstrator, and then you've got Margaret on the left here, Les of course on the right, and Mario at the bottom there. Mario is coming all the way over from Austria, so he's got quite a bit of a trek. I think he's the furthest demonstrator for the Weekender as of yet.
I think he probably is. Gary Lowe sometimes.
Gary Lowe, actually,
so
yeah.
this sneaks in with the furthest distance travelled. And we've got people coming from overseas for this as well. So it's going to be very well supported, and tickets are still available. We've gone for a bigger venue this year so we can squeeze more people in. And if you have sort of booked previously and saw that the evening meal had sold out, we've had a little move around of things and we can get more people in on that. So it's still not too late to join us for the evening meal if you want to on Saturday. Really recommend it, because anyone who's been before knows we always put something different on in the evening. Not going to tell you what it is this year. I never tell anyone what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is. Just Terry. Terry and the. I'm amazed the people that are there know what's going on until they show up.
So it's really good fun. So yeah, if you want to come along and join us, please do. 4 great demonstrators, and of course lots of other stuff going on. And in case you haven't heard as well, on the Friday afternoon we're opening up the Traders Hall between 3 and 6. So even if you haven't got a ticket, you can still get in and do some shopping if you want to, top up your supplies. And of course the Traders Hall will be open as well during the weekend. So really hope we might see you there. And what have we got there? Oh, Wood Dude has asked, would the use of a heat gun on low heat to melt the wax into the cracks be advised? I probably wouldn't.
The reason we wouldn't advise that is because wax is highly flammable, as well as the solvent in the wax being flammable. The risk would be that the heat from the heat gun would ignite the wax due to the low flash point. So you do want to be. That isn't advised, and you would want to be extremely careful if you did try that.
And of course, we're trying to keep the wax out of the cracks so that it doesn't dry white in the cracks. So even if you heat it up and run it into any gaps, it is still going to dry white. It's potentially dry white, and that's not advisable.
Yeah, the bit that would dry white is if it was a thicker coating. So if you know, if those gaps are filled, it is going to potentially cause a problem. But in short, you know, we wouldn't advise using a heat gun, basically.
As someone says, don't forget to bring your partners to the Weekender. It's a great fun event. We get people who are non-turners accompany their partners, and they still enjoy it. And we do have a partner program this year with a day trip over to York. So there's plenty to do and see there.
Not that I was going to say on that note, not that the wood turners don't enjoy the Weekender, but I think the partners of a lot of wood turners sometimes enjoy it more than their wood turning counterparts because of you know, the social aspects. It's a great event. It's definitely not one to miss. Okay, so let's polish this up. So we'll turn the speed up, and using the same cloth, we've got light pressure, and hopefully you can see that's coming up to a really nice shine there. Almost looks a bit dark on camera. It looks a lot lighter of a brown in person, or maybe that's just the screen. Maybe it's just my eyes, actually. I can't see that well at the back. So, there we go. I think we're pretty much finished. So, we will part this off, and then it's time for our special guest appearance. So, take that off here. I'm going to go back over to the parting tool, of course. Speed can go down slightly, we don't want to build up too much heat. And with this one, we can put a slight undercut on there, just because we've not got an uneven shape around the base. Because we've got a round base on there, an undercut isn't going to cause us a problem. So slowly working our way down to the base there. Not sure how strong that is at the base actually, because we have got that bit of a hole coming through on the other side, so and a little bit of a split there as well. So I've got probably about a centimetre left there. I'm going to get ready to hold the other side just in case it does come off. There we go. And we'll do the same as before. We'll grab the skew chisel. And we'll just remove the base on there. I probably want to do this with a sander. That'll be a little bit easier just because this wiggling vitae is extremely hard. One of the only woods that will sink in water, if you didn't already know that. Most woods float. This one will sink to the bottom, it's so dense. So just working my way around, being very careful, of course, that we're not getting our fingers in the line of fire. And this does have the manufacturing hole in the center, so we just need to clean up around the outside. And there we go. Now, something I'm aware of as well, of course, is that because it's such a hot day, my hands are extremely warm. The high gloss wax, not so much, but if you're using something like the Wood Wax 22, the heat from your hands risks dulling the finish, because even just the ambient heat in the room, the wax will be slightly softer, and your hot hands touching a piece will risk dulling the wax. And that's not just applicable to when you're turning, after the fact. The Wood Wax 22 is a great product, but because it's made of softer waxes to aid with the drying time, it risks being very slightly softer on a hot day. So high gloss wax is has a slightly higher melting point, and the microcrystalline wax has a higher melting point again. So if it's something that's going to be handled, microcrystalline wax is probably your best bet, or the high gloss wax is a close second. So there we go. That's the one I did this morning, and that's the one we've just done now. Very nice. Getting a clap from behind the camera. let me know in the chat which one's your favourite. We'll do this as number 1. This is number 2. Put a 2 or a 1 depending on which one your favourite is. But shall we? Should we ask our special guest up to the front? No. Hello.
Well, hang on, I've got
See
something
if
for
it
that.
fits.
Really good or really, really
No, you've got
bad?
some applause going. You can't
Oh, we got some applause going. Oh, we got to hear that. So, which is your favourite? Oh, you like the box with?
It's a lot nicer, I think.
Do you want
I like the label.
to see if it fits?
Yay!
Yay!
Feel free to actually introduce Jen, won't you?
Oh yeah, this is Jen. Jen is very
It's
lovely.
so hot.
It is so hot.
Oh my gosh.
It's hotter here than it is over there.
Really? Okay, sure.
It is. It's really hot. It's because I'm working so hard over here. Yeah, this is Jen. I've known Jen for many, many years. She's been my girlfriend for 3 years, and my fiance for about 2 weeks. We went on a lovely trip to Italy, which you might have heard about if you read the weekly newsletters. But yeah, we went to Italy. That was a lovely trip, and here we are in the Chestnut Product Studio.
Lovely.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
All right, back now. There you go.
Can I take with me?
Yeah. Wow.
And we had a vote for number 2, so
Oh, so it's not. It wasn't in vain.
no.
This one, no, that's not nice. I like this one as well. Brilliant. Right, shall we wrap it up? I, for one, I'm definitely going to go and get a cool drink after this.
Absolutely. Any last minute questions, folks? Don't forget, Nathaniel's got this other piece of lignum vitae that he can play around with and make something from. So if you've got any suggestions on what he should do with that, polite ones, please. And we'll do that as another live stream. So yeah, do send your suggestions in, and we'll pick one of those and we'll make something in a few weeks' time. Okay, going to sign off now. Thank you very much, Nathaniel. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Terry. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Jennifer, our special guest.
Yeah, brilliant. And we will hopefully see you all again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye. Keep waving. I can't find the right one.
Yeah, you can cut the cameras anytime.
Yeah.
Right.